Hello and welcome to the Think Dad podcast, a podcast all about engaging with young dads. My name's Robert Orton.
And my name is Jordan Richardson, and we both work for North East Young Dads and Lads, working with other young dads and their families.
In this series of podcasts, we'll be interviewing a variety of professionals, asking questions about fatherhood engagement and best practice around working with young dads and their families. Let's get into this episode.
Hello, my name is Kevin Stoodley. I'm the CEO of the North East Young Dads and Lads project, and I'm here today to interview two young dads who've been involved in the work of the charity since the beginning. Guys, would you like to introduce yourselves for me, please?
Yeah, my name's Robert. I'm one of the peer enablers here at North East Young Dads and Lads and have been since May of last year.
Thanks, Robert.
I am Jordan. I am also a peer enabler and a perinatal mental health worker for NEYDL.
Thanks very much. Robert and Jordan, I'm going to ask you a few questions if I may. The first question I'm going to ask you is, could you tell me how and why you came to be involved with NEYDL? Should we start with you, Rob?
Yeah, I can do. So I found out about NEYDL years ago through another charity that I was getting support from, and they kind of got me in touch with Kevin. That was due to me having some personal issues at home with my current relationship at the time, and I didn't really know what to do in terms of how I can get contact from my daughter as much as I possibly could, of course. So from meeting Kevin, we got to know each other a little bit, and then it just kind of over time developed into something where I could volunteer. So once a week I started to volunteer while I was at work, and I got to meet a lot of different young dads who were kind of in the same position as me. So over a long period of time, I thought I just wanted to be a bit more involved with that kind of work and what Kevin does and what Doug does, and I'm now here.
Thanks a lot. That's great. Jordan, same question for you. Can you tell us how and why you came to be involved with NEYDL?
Well, the how is I managed to get in touch with someone at the Young Women's Project, who then managed to get in touch with Kevin, and then since then being part of the charity. But the why is because I needed contact with my daughter, which I had to go through courts to be able to get, and Kevin supported me through all of that.
Quite similar themes then, guys, around kind of contact and relationships. Did you guys know any dads before you, or any young dads in particular, before you engaged with NEYDL?
No, I didn't personally know any young dads. Not at least until we got to that point where we set up like a weekly meet with other young dads, but before then, no.
Okay. What about you, Jordan?
No, I didn't know any young dads.
Okay, nice one. Fantastic. So, question two, and we'll ask this one to Jordan first, is how has your involvement with the charity changed over time? You mentioned that you kind of came in, I guess, as a beneficiary. So, kind of what's changed for you?
Well, I mean, I was still getting support throughout the whole, for a good couple of years. So once that kind of settled down and got to where I wanted it to be, I just stuck around, and now, like, I was part of the board, and now I'm a worker, so I've kind of just stuck here and done whatever I could to help other dads, really.
Was that the motivation for you, was about helping others?
Yeah. It was also the stigma of dads. I wanted to try and change that and just help them get around it.
What's that stigma you're talking about?
Well, just being looked down upon for being a young dad, and just accusations, and try and help dads get through whatever really comes to words. Mm-hmm. Just see what we can get them through if we can. If we can't, then we'll do what we can to help.
And that journey you went on, you said that you kind of so you went from being someone who used the service to someone who became a trustee and then an employee of the charity. Was that the kind of order it kind of went in? Or was there a bit more to it than that?
Yeah, it was kind of like that. It was a mix and match. I was on the board for a good couple of years. That kind of felt like a job in itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we weren't on the board, it felt just like I was back to being a beneficiary. And then now I'm working for NEYDL, so it's kind of mix and match. But it's a good journey.
Mm-hmm. Something you're proud of.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks, mate. Rob, for you, how's your involvement with NEYDL changed over time?
I think experience, because before working with NEYDL, I'd worked in a completely different field. But over time, when I was volunteering, I started to think differently in ways of wanting to kind of figure out how you got into your role, Kevin. Because it fascinated me, and I wanted to do something completely different anyway. But just working with NEYDL, I think the main ones for me have to be getting that experience and having those opportunities given to me for training, for example. Whereas if I hadn't had any involvement with NEYDL, I don't think, or at least I would have found it harder, a bit more difficult to go down that route. But it's felt way more natural to me to do it the way I have done, by volunteering and being a part of, having another opportunity to be a part of the board of trustees, to have a voice, and just gradually over time again get to a position that I'm in right now where I can do what Kevin and Doug do, essentially with supporting young dads who have been in my position.
Yeah. And how helpful is it, do you think, in terms of the support that you kind of now offer to young dads? And I see it all the time. You're doing a brilliant job of that in terms of that direct support. How valuable and important is it that you've kind of been on that journey yourself?
I think the having that lived experience gives that unique perspective, where you can kind of sit down with some of the young dads that we've worked with, whether by themselves one-on-one or in a group, and we can relate massively. Not only because I guess it was quite recent for us that it happened to, but I think that lived experience makes the world a difference.
Right. Okay. What about for you, Jordan? How do you think the dads respond differently to you or the same to you as they would do, say, for me or Doug?
I would say it's just the age, really.
Okay.
We're kind of the same age. We're pretty much all young lads, are kind of all into the same stuff. And it's just a lot easier to relate to what you're talking about, really.
Yeah, I see that when I kind of watch you guys interact with the young dads. It feels much more natural and fluid.
We sometimes get lost in conversations, don't we?
Yeah.
We really do.
But it's all good stuff, though. It's about that kind of relationship building stuff that I see. You guys just get, you've got your own language and your own interests, and that stuff just seems to kind of build a rapport much faster. Moving on to question 3. Thanks for that, guys. The question is, what kind of support has NEYDL provided for you? So shall I ask this question to Robert first?
Yeah, so similar to what I referred to before, I guess. Definitely from the very beginning, when I was first employed by NEYDL, the support has been non-stop. From Kevin and Doug. I think the opportunities that have been given and are still being given for training to further develop ourselves is a constant. It's always there, and I think again having that extra say with the position that we have right now, having that extra voice it's always meant something anyway, since from being a beneficiary to now. But I think being in a position now where we're employed, it's given us, I guess, given us a sense of more ownership. I guess, to me anyway.
Good answer. Fantastic. You mentioned a bit about the kind of non-stop support. What did that look like, and kind of what's the benefit in having that continual support as opposed to sort of say a service that maybe you were this for X amount of weeks and
in this field especially, I think that it's always changing. There's always something being found out, whether that's based entirely on the contact we have with young fathers. We might experience something that we've never encountered before, more so because of having different backgrounds, like I said earlier. So that kind of support NEYDL provides, where it can be from simply just going up to Kevin or Doug with a question, or just having a general chat over the phone, can really put things into perspective on certain situations when we're being met with them from different young dads. So I think that constant is only improving our personal development, and over time that's just going to keep growing. So
brilliant. Thanks, mate. Jordan, anything to add? What kind of support has NEYDL provided for you?
Well, for me, it's just getting contact from my daughter through the court system. So, that was a really long process. So, just doing all the forms for that, getting contacts to who to talk to about what is the best action to go for with going through courts. Like Rob said, the training aspect of stuff like the first aid, the bacon, and all that kind of stuff. And basically just like mentally as well. So whenever I feel down, I just message, and then someone will have something nice to say, and it kind of perks us up a bit.
Okay, thanks, man. Okay, so this is your last question, guys. Thanks for your input so far. So question 4 is, on reflection, what difference has your involvement with NEYDL made to you and your life as young men and as young dads also? Social assets to you, Jordan.
Well, for me, it's just made me become a better person and kind of think more about my daughter and the actions that I take and how it will affect my future and her future, and kind of just, it just makes us a better person in general, because I see how other dads are, and with the way they are, it makes me reflect on my past, and it's just made us a lot, think a lot more about what's going on.
You see that in terms of kind of your friends now and stuff, in your journey that you've been on. How does that differ or compare to the kind of trajectory or journey you might have been on without NEYDL's involvement?
Well, without NEYDL, I pretty much, I don't know what I'd be doing, to be honest. I wasn't plumbing at college, so I'd probably still be trying to pursue that, or just a normal, typical job. But now I'm in part of NEYDL, which is a special job and something that I've learned to grow and love.
Thanks, man. That's a lovely answer. Rob, on reflection, what difference has your involvement with NEYDL made to your life as a young man and also as a dad?
I think going back to when I was uncertain of how often I would get my daughter or have contact with my daughter, there was a lot of unanswered questions at the time. Even after I was told it would be quite simple, but you soon find out that it's not. Realistically, you can't, with schools and other people's lives, you cannot just show up as and when you want, I guess, if you want to see your daughter, if you're no longer in a relationship, that is. But in terms of, being involved with NEYDL, and relating it to that, I think some of the conversations that I've had over time has certainly pushed me more to be in the position that I'm in now with that contact. Going through the process of mediation and building the confidence to have certain conversations, albeit hard ones, with my daughter's mother. But overall, it's certainly worked out for the best, I think, in terms of like how, because I think life in general, I just prioritize what's best for both me and my daughter, like what we want to do in the future, things like that. I'm always planning ahead. Just recently, I think the most recent conversation I've had with my daughter is travel. We want to go around places. So I know she definitely wants to go to more places, and it's just fitting that time in around other responsibilities. But I think being involved with NEYDL certainly increased that confidence to pursue those things. So yeah.
Well, listen, thanks so much for your contribution, and also, just to recognise that this toolkit, the Father Inclusive Toolkit, really is here because of the work you guys have kind of done, the peer research, the interviews, the writing, the contributions you've made. So, thank you so much for all your work on this project. It's been amazing.
Thank you.
You have been listening to the Think Dad podcast with Jordan Richardson
and Robert Orton. This podcast has been produced by NHS Cumbria Northumberland Tyne and Wear, the North East Young Dads and Lads, and the University of Lincoln. If you'd like to find out more about our work, please visit the North East Young Dads and Lads website at www.neydl.uk or our bespoke e-learning platform at www.digidad.uk. That's www.digidad.uk.
Until next time, thank you for listening.